The rain had been falling since early morning, thin and steady, the kind that quietly fills the air with a soft grey mood. Inside the Parker home, everything felt too calm for a Thursday afternoon. Emma Parker had been slicing vegetables in the kitchen, planning an early dinner, when she heard the front door open with the faintest click. Not a heavy slam, not the usual confident push her son always made when he came home from college. This sound was softer, almost nervous, as if someone wanted to step inside without being noticed. Emma paused mid-cut, her hand still resting on the knife handle. She knew her son's habits better than anyone, his footsteps, his moods, even the way he breathed when something was bothering him. And today, every small sound coming from the hallway felt like a quiet alarm ringing in her chest. She sat there, knife down, and wiped her hands, not rushing but moving quickly enough to show she sensed something was off. Liam didn't come into the kitchen like he usually did. Instead, he walked straight to the living room and sank onto the couch, his shoulders bent forward, his hands gripping his phone as if he didn't know what to do with it. Emma walked toward him slowly, trying not to startle him. She stood near the doorway for a moment, giving him space, observing his posture. His head was bowed slightly, and his breathing was uneven, the kind that comes from holding back more emotion than the body can handle. "Liam," she said softly. He didn't answer at first. He lifted his head only halfway, letting her see just enough of his face to show how broken he felt. His eyes were red, but not from fresh tears. They looked tired, like he had been fighting long before he stepped through the door. Emma sat beside him, not close enough to make him uncomfortable, but close enough to show she was there. She didn't touch him. She didn't push him. She simply waited. A few seconds passed in silence, but it felt much longer. Then Liam finally spoke, his voice so quiet she almost didn't hear it. "Mom, Madison broke up with me." The words fell into the room like a soft but heavy drop of rain. Not loud, not dramatic, but powerful enough to shift everything in that moment. Emma felt the weight of his sentence, not because she was surprised, but because she could hear the hurt behind it. Liam lowered his gaze again, staring at the floor as if he was trying to make sense of something that didn't make sense at all. "It just happened," he said, his voice breaking slightly. "She said she needs space. She said she's confused. She said we're moving too fast." He swallowed hard. "I didn't even know anything was wrong." Emma's heart pulled in two directions at once toward her son, who was hurting, and toward the mother inside her who wanted to say the right thing at the right time. That she knew better than to speak too soon. Heartbreak was not something she could fix with advice. It had to be held gently, like something fragile. Liam rubbed his hands together, a nervous habit he had since childhood. "It felt like she already made up her mind before she even told me," he continued, his voice shaking. "She didn't look at me the same. She didn't sound like herself. It was like she wasn't even there." Emma breathed out slowly, letting him speak, letting him release the pressure inside his chest without stopping him. The rain outside continued its steady rhythm against the windows, matching the sadness in his words. "I asked her if she still cared about me," Liam said. "She didn't answer." He blinked rapidly, holding back tears. "And then she walked away." Emma finally reached out, placing a warm hand on his back. It wasn't a dramatic gesture, but it was enough. Liam didn't pull away. He leaned into her touch slightly, not fully but enough to show he needed it. "I don't know what I did wrong," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Emma closed her eyes for a moment, collecting her thoughts. "Sometimes," she said gently, "it's not about what you did wrong. Sometimes people change inside themselves long before they say it out loud." Liam didn't respond, but she could see he was listening. He leaned back on the couch, resting, his elbows on his knees, his hands running through his hair in frustration. "I thought we were good," he murmured. "I really thought she and I were building something." The room fell quiet again. Emma knew he wasn't asking for solutions. He was asking for understanding, support, something steady to hold on to. Emma turned slightly and faced him. "Liam," she said softly, "you loved her with honesty and heart. There is nothing wrong with that. Heartbreak doesn't erase the good moments. It just shows how deeply you cared." Liam finally met her eyes, truly met them for the first time since he'd come home. His expression was full of sadness, but also something else. Relief. Like he had been waiting all day for someone to tell him it was okay to hurt. Emma gave him a small, warm smile. Not the cheerful kind, but the kind someone gives when they know. The road ahead will be hard, yet they will walk beside you no matter what. Outside, the rain kept falling. Inside, something fragile had cracked open, but not in a way that destroyed. In a way that allowed healing to begin. Emma stayed beside Liam, letting him sit in his heartbreak without pressure. She knew he needed time to breathe, but she also knew too much silence after pain could feel like drowning. After a few minutes, she gently asked, "Do you want to talk more about what happened?" Her voice was calm, steady, the kind that made people feel safe. Liam nodded slowly, wiping his face with the back of his hand. "It happened so fast," he said. "One minute we were studying together. Everything was normal. And the next she looked at me with this distant look, like she wasn't even seeing me anymore." He paused, trying to steady his breathing. "She said she's been feeling overwhelmed, that she needs to figure out her own path." Emma kept her eyes on him, not judging, not interrupting. She had been through heartbreak herself. She understood the kind of confusion that leaves a person standing in the middle of their own life, wondering what just happened. Liam leaned back into the couch, running his hands over his face. "She told me she cares about me but can't be in a relationship right now." He let out a frustrated breath. "I mean, what does that even mean? How can someone care but walk away at the same time?" Emma set her hand on his arm, giving it a gentle squeeze. "Sometimes people care, but they're not ready for the kind of connection they created," she said softly. "It doesn't make your feelings less real. It just means she's confused." Liam looked down at his hands, his voice thick with emotion. "I keep thinking if I had done something differently, maybe she wouldn't have felt pressured." He shook his head. "Maybe I called too much. Maybe I tried too hard to make plans. Maybe I—" "Liam," Emma interrupted, her tone firm but gentle. "Love is not a mistake. Caring is not a mistake. Wanting someone in your life isn't something to apologize for." He blinked a few times, processing her words. Emma leaned back slightly, giving him space to breathe. When two people are growing, sometimes they grow at different speeds. Sometimes they're not ready at the same time. That doesn't mean you did something wrong. Liam swallowed hard, trying to keep himself from breaking again. "It just hurts. More than I thought it would." "I know," Emma said softly. "Heartbreak always hurts more than we expect." He looked at her with tired eyes, the kind that showed he hadn't slept well in days. "I didn't want to tell you at first," he admitted. "I thought you'd say I'm too young to feel this deeply." Emma shook her head. "Age doesn't stop the heart from caring. Pain is pain, no matter how old you are." That seemed to comfort him more than anything else. He leaned against the back of the couch, staring ahead, remembering moments he wasn't ready to let go of. Emma could see the memories flickering in his eyes, the laughter he missed, the sense of belonging he had felt, the plans he thought were solid. She didn't tell him those memories would fade with time. She didn't tell him he would eventually move on. Those were truths he wasn't ready to hear yet. Instead, she chose the truth he needed right now. "You're not alone," she said softly. He nodded, but his voice cracked when he spoke. It just feels like everything changed so fast. I woke up thinking she loved me, and by the afternoon, it was all over. Emma moved a little closer, not crowding him but giving him warmth. Your heart is hurting because it cared, she said. But it will not stay broken forever. You will find your balance again. Liam rubbed his eyes, clearly exhausted. I've been trying to act okay all day, he said. Pretending like I'm fine around my friends. Pretending I didn't feel anything when she walked away. You don't have to pretend here, Emma said quietly. He let out a deep breath, almost like he had been holding it since the morning. I kept wondering if she ever meant what she said before. All those late-night talks, the promises, the plans. His jaw tightened. Were they real, or was she already drifting away back then? Emma shook her head softly. People change, Liam. Feelings shift. But that doesn't erase the truth of the moments you shared. She cared at the time, but she also changed inside, and that's something she had to face. Liam didn't answer right away. He just stared at the carpet, lost in the storm of his emotions. Emma could see his heart break, but she also saw something stronger beneath it, a resilience he didn't recognize yet. After a long moment, he whispered, I miss her. Emma nodded. Missing someone is human. Missing someone means your heart was open. He looked at her, his eyes wet again. Thank you for not telling me to just get over it. Emma gave him a gentle smile. Getting over it is not the goal. Healing is. His breath shook, but this time it wasn't from pain. It was from relief. Emma watched him closely, noticing the small shift in his posture. He wasn't curled into himself anymore. He wasn't hiding his emotions. He was letting them rise, letting them be seen, though Emma felt a quiet warmth in her chest. A soft, motherly pride mixed with something deeper, something tender. Helping him through this heartbreak was reminding her of the strength she had forgotten she had. After her own divorce, she had been carrying silent shadows inside her. But being here for Liam felt like light breaking through Dot. Liam looked at her with quiet appreciation. You always make things feel calmer, he said softly. And for Emma, that was enough to keep sitting there, steady as a warm anchor. Guiding him gently toward the healing he didn't yet know was already beginning. The days after the breakup moved quickly, but the emotions inside the house shifted slowly. Like a storm, losing strength one cloud at a time. Emma watched Liam carefully, not in a controlling way, but with a quiet awareness only a mother could have. She noticed the small things first. How he stopped checking his phone every hour. How he no longer stared at the wall when he thought no one was looking. How his shoulders slowly relaxed as the weight of shock faded and the reality of healing began. Emma made sure he never felt alone, but she also gave him room to breathe. Their home felt softer during those days, lighter meals, warmer conversations, calmer evenings. Liam appreciated it even if he didn't say it aloud. He was trying to find himself again after losing someone he thought he would grow with. On the fourth evening, when the air outside was cool enough to feel crisp against the skin, Emma suggested they take a walk. Just a short one, she said. Fresh air helps the heart settle. Liam agreed, more because he didn't want to sit with his thoughts than because he wanted the walk. They stepped out into their quiet Washington neighborhood, where the trees were already turning warm shades of orange and gold. The sky glowed with fading daylight, giving everything a gentle, peaceful tone. They walked side by side, their steps matching without effort. For the first few minutes they didn't speak. Liam watched the leaves on the ground move with the wind, and Emma kept her pace steady, letting him choose when to talk. Finally, Liam let out a breath as if he had been holding it all day. I keep thinking about what she said, he started. About needing time. About being overwhelmed. He kicked a small stone lightly. I get it. But I also don't. It's like she made a decision I wasn't part of. Emma nodded slowly. Breakups rarely happen at the same moment for both people. One person feels the shift earlier, and the other feels the shock. Liam stared straight ahead. I wish she told me sooner. Maybe I could have handled it better. Maybe I wouldn't have held on so tightly. Emma looked at him with a calm expression. People rarely know how to communicate their confusion. Most hide it until it becomes too heavy. He didn't respond right away, but his shoulders loosened a little. The air felt lighter around them. They reached a small park near their block, a place Emma used to take him when he was younger. They sat on a bench, watching a few families pack up their evening picnics. Liam leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. I keep asking myself if I wasn't enough, he said quietly. Emma turned toward him. Liam, don't measure your worth by someone else's uncertainty. He looked at her, searching for understanding. You cared deeply, Emma continued. You tried your best. That is not a weakness. What she needed had nothing to do with your value. Liam held her gaze for a moment before nodding faintly. He didn't fully believe the words yet, but he wanted to. They sat there as the sky darkened a little more. The breeze moved through the trees, carrying the scent of pine and cold evening air. Everything felt calmer than the day before, like life was slowly settling into a new rhythm. I miss how easy things felt with her, Liam admitted. Like she understood me. She did, Emma said gently. But understanding doesn't always last forever. People grow, sometimes in different directions. He looked down at his hands. I don't like how quickly things change. Change is always fast, Emma replied. But healing takes its time. Liam breathed out slowly. Sometimes I feel angry. Sometimes I feel sad. Sometimes I feel numb. It keeps switching. That's normal, Emma said. Your heart is catching up to what your mind already knows. He nodded. I guess so. For a few moments they watched the sky turn deeper shades of blue. The sound of distant cars hummed softly, mixing with the rustling leaves. It felt peaceful, almost soothing. Then Liam said something unexpected. You know, even when I feel awful, being with you makes me feel calmer. Emma felt a warm tug in her chest. She wasn't expecting him to say that, not in that tone. Not with that honesty. It touched something deep inside her. Something she hadn't felt in a long time. She smiled softly. You're not doing this alone. Liam gave her a small smile back, faint but real. Thank you, Mom. I really mean it. They began walking home, and something felt different in the air. Not lighter, not heavier, but more connected. Liam wasn't just leaning on her. He was beginning to open up in a way he hadn't for years. And Emma felt it too. A closeness she had missed without realizing how much she needed it. When they reached the house, Liam paused at the doorway. I think I'll be okay, he said, almost surprised by his own words. You will, Emma said. And when you're not, I'll be here. His eyes softened, full of gratitude. You always make things feel less painful. Emma touched his arm gently. And you remind me how strong love can be. As they stepped inside, the quiet warmth of home wrapped around them. Liam wasn't healed yet, but he was healing. And Emma felt a soft glow inside her. A calm, steady sense of hope she hadn't felt in years. The storm wasn't over, but the clouds were beginning to break. A week later, the Parker home felt different. Not completely healed, but steadier, calmer, almost as if the air itself had learned how to breathe again. Liam woke up earlier that morning, something he hadn't done since the breakup. He showered, cleaned his room, and even made himself a cup of coffee. They were small steps, but they were real signs that he was slowly finding his balance again. Emma noticed these changes quietly. She didn't comment or praise him too loudly because she knew healing was delicate. Too much attention could make a person retreat again. Instead, she simply observed him with a soft pride growing inside her. A warmth she hadn't felt in a long time. In the afternoon, she found him sitting on the porch steps, looking at the sky instead of the ground. His posture was relaxed, his breathing steady, and for the first time since Madison had left, he looked like himself, maybe not the same version as before, but a stronger one. Emma stepped outside and sat next to him, letting her presence blend naturally with the peaceful setting. The sun was beginning to lower, casting a warm orange glow across the neighborhood. A gentle breeze pushed through the trees, brushing against them with a calm rhythm. Liam didn't look at her right away, but he gave a small, content sigh. "I'm getting better," he said. "Not all the way, but better." Emma smiled softly. "Healing is slow. It doesn't have to be perfect." He nodded. "Yeah, but it feels different today. I'm not waking up with the same ache in my chest." He paused for a moment before adding, "I think it's because you stayed by me the whole time." Emma felt the words settle deeply in her heart, warm and steady. "That's what we do for the people we love," she said gently. There was a quiet moment after that, peaceful and full of meaning. Liam leaned back on his hands, letting the breeze touch his face. "You know," he said thoughtfully, "when Madison left, I thought everything was ending. I thought my whole world would just fade. But it didn't," Emma said. "No." He smiled faintly. "I thought the breakup was the worst thing that could happen. But now I feel like maybe it was something I needed. Not because it felt good, but because it made me understand myself more." Emma turned slightly toward him, curious. "What do you mean?" Liam looked down at his hands, then up at the sky. "I realized I was depending too much on her to make me feel okay. And when she left, I didn't know who I was without her." He breathed out, shaking his head gently. "But this week, being with you, talking, walking, letting myself feel everything, it made me see I'm stronger than I thought." Emma's chest tightened in an emotional way, proud, touched, almost overwhelmed. For years, she had doubted her own strength after her divorce. She had been living with a quiet emptiness inside, pretending she didn't feel lonely. But in helping Liam heal, she felt pieces of herself coming back together too. "You're growing," Emma said. "Not because of what happened, but because of how you're facing it."